Yeah, today I want to talk about BirdBox. BirdBox is on Netflix and it stars Sandra Bullock. Haven't seen her in a while. I know she came out with Ocean's 8 or 10. I lose the numbers. And even John Malkovich is in this movie, which was pretty interesting. It was great seeing them. BirdBox is essentially an apocalyptic kind of sci-fi-ish, horror-ish kind of a movie that involves this outbreak that starts in Europe or in Russia or something like that, and then it kind of spreads over into the western coast of the United States, and it continues to spread. Sandra Bullock and her sister, and I forgot her name right now, but she's in a lot of stuff. She's one of the main actors in American Horror Story. They're running around, and all of a sudden, this plague hits them, and the plague seems to involve people committing mass suicide in the thousands, and essentially you see something and it does something to your eyes, and it throws you into such a state of despair that you just end up killing yourself. It's very unique. I never saw anything like that, but the idea is that you can't go outside. And if you do, you have to be blindfolded or something, or have something over your head, because you can't see. If you see anything, you die. Yeah, it's weird. It involves creatures, and these creatures kind of do this to you. They kind of show you. I don't know what these creatures are, but they seem to throw you into some kind of state where you either commit suicide or you become kind of part of that collective to try to make other people see. And you'll see it in the movie as you see it. I'm not really going to give anything away at this point. I think I might have already given too much. So I'm going to leave it like that. Sandra Bullock is with child, and she gets holed up in a house with other survivors of this apocalypse, and they're trying to figure out how to survive throughout this thing, and if there's any end to this in sight. This movie has gotten much criticism. Okay, a lot of people I talked to liked it, and then there were other people that I talked to that didn't like it. It's kind of split almost down the middle. There's people, I've seen my social media platforms say, oh, it was great, and then another person say, oh, it sucked, it was terrible. I, for one, thought it was a good story. I thought the story was tight, not too crazy about the ending. The ending could have been tighter. It's really a movie about survival. It's really not so much about the creatures. It doesn't explain where they came from, how this started, why this started. It's more about how the people kind of get through it, and how Sandra Bullock and the people she ends up being with throughout the course of the film and throughout the course of time in the film get through it. It was kind of like, remember A Quiet Place earlier last year, where, and I talked about that you have to be quiet, otherwise the monsters will get you. Don't open your mouth. In this scenario, don't open your eyes. It reminded me of it. And both films seem to have the same kind of message, which is survival. It was more of a drama than it was anything else. How to survive an apocalyptic event of mass proportions in which you try to relate to the people around you to help survive, and decisions you have to make when it gets to the real worst of it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I liked the very beginning, actually. The beginning was great. It started off really hot, because you see the whole thing just kind of unravel right there, and I think that's usually the best part. Kind of reminded me in a way of the beginning of Dawn of the Dead, the remake. You know how it started? You saw the outbreak just go crazy in the beginning of the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Kind of like this. This is kind of like what I saw here, which I thought. But it wasn't zombies. It was these mysterious creatures. By the way, you never see these creatures. You don't know what they look like. You just hear them. That's about it. I'm going to give BirdBox 3 moons going around the strange planet. I don't consider it a horror film, as I thought it was an apocalyptic thriller kind of thing, up there with other films. But, I think I'd rather keep it in a kind of sci-fi, pretty much a sci-fi kind of box. BirdBox. It was great seeing Sandra Bullock on the screen again. It was great seeing John Malkovich on the screen again. And the other actors that played their parts in the film were also very good in their acting. I thought it was pretty awesome. It just kind of lends, there's always that scenario, right? Like what would happen if this happened in the world? Would you be able to survive it? If you could, what would you do? What would you decide to do? I feel like it's kind of that same message. And it's a message that's been kind of rehashed again and again in many other films and even TV series. But, you know, this is a very unique way to approach it. And I appreciated it a lot. So what are your thoughts about BirdBox on Netflix? Talk to me. Comment below and share with me what you think of BirdBox. If you like what you saw here, please consider subscribing. Tap on the bell above on the channel so that you can get notification of the next time I post something. And please feel free to share your thoughts. This is Ralph Perez from Strange Planet.